Hi student, how are you doing? We are moving on to place value and multiplication concept today. So please turn to page 27 and 6 to complete your student book today. So let's go through the lesson very quickly. And I'm very certain most of you are very familiar with this topic. Yep, the first activity is actually on place value. So you're supposed to read off from the abacus to write down the value that is shown on the abacus. Let's use C as an example. So for this case, look at the 100,000. There are 3 bits here. 10,000, there are 4 bits. 1,000, there are 3 bits. Hundreds, there are 3. And nothing for tens and 4 ones. So to go in sequence, so will be 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, hundreds, tens, then ones. So to read it off is actually 343,304. That's right. Once you get it, write it down on the book. Okay, moving on to another one, which requires you to draw the beads. So let's just see as an example, since we have 806,207, so there should be 8 bits on the 100,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nothing on the 10,000, and then 6 on the thousands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 for the hundreds. 1, 2, and nothing for the tens, and 7 on the ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's how you complete this. So also do draw it neatly, guys. Okay, so make sure the bits are clearly shown on your book. Okay, moving on, next part. Reading numbers. I'm sure most of you also know how to read this, but let's revise this very quickly. Looking at the first number here. So we've got to read them in terms of hundreds, tens, and ones. So for this case, it's 206,341, right? Yep, that's how you read it. And what about the next one? Oh, a bigger number. It's 257,403,280. Yep, that's right. That's how you read it. Some of us may be, using such numbers in the future. Maybe you are a banker, you are an investor, whereby, you're buying properties in terms of hundreds of millions. Okay, so we need to know this concept well. So now, how do we write numbers? And one of the things that we are teaching you is whenever you have up to 1,000, you have to have a space in between. So every 3 digit, you must have a space in between. Okay, let's look at this example on E. So you have 7,325,400. So that's how you see there's 7,325,000 and 400 ones. When you present it in the space, remember every 3 digit there should be a gap. So there should be a gap here and there should be a gap here. That's how you look. That's how you will look like. 7,325,400. Okay, well done. Let's move on to the next one, which is on page 27. Okay, this concept is about place value on decimal. We have briefly touched on this at the beginning of the school year. So anyway, if you're not sure, there's a diagram shown here. Anything that's after the decimal point, it will be tenths with the THS, hundredths with the THS, and thousandths with the THS. So anything before that, I'm sure you are all very familiar. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, right? Without the THS. The TH is only 4 digits that after the decimal place. So looking at this, what is the place value of digit 8 in 324.789? So, of course, this is tenth, this is hundredth, and that's how you get the answer. So looking at example C here, or should I say, I think it's B. This is in the ones place, the digit 7, and looking at G, 6 is in digit, is a place value of the thousandth. That's right. Okay, I'm sure most of you won't have much issue with this part. Let's move on to the next part here. How do you actually express centimeters into fractional meter and also decimal fraction. So first we got to understand the 100 cm is actually 1 meter. So to get 90 cm is actually 0.9 by just moving the decimal backwards 2 times. 1, 2. Okay, that's how you get 0.9. So to present this in terms of 90 cm, in terms of fraction, it's just 90 out of 100 because 1 meter is the base of 100 cm. So that's why it's out of 100. And to get the decimal point in terms of meters, it is simply 0.9 meters. What about values more than 100? Okay, let's use another example, maybe 520 cm. Okay, so 520 cm, we still have the same expression, 520 over 100. And then after that, to get the decimal, so it's actually 5.2 meters by just moving the decimal back twice. That's how I get 5.2 meters. Okay, hope more of you can understand this concept well. Let's move on. Next one, you're required to reorder the decimal from the smallest to the largest. I'm using C as an example. So from here, as you can see, the smallest is this one because you have nothing here at the 10th and the 100th. That's why 3.005 is the smallest. The next smallest, oh yep, there's nothing at the 10th again. So that's why it's 3.05 is the smallest. So compare these two, 3.26 and 3.512. Yep, 3.5 is larger than 3.2, so 3.2 is the next one. 3.26 liters is the next one, and the smallest is 3.512 liters. Okay, always go in terms of the sequence to see which is the smallest. Okay, looking at the extreme value. Okay, next, we're supposed to look at a pattern. Let's look at C. For example, when you look at pattern, you always need to have this kind of arrows telling you what is the difference. So for this case, from 0.27 to become 0.03 is actually to add 0.06. And when you add another 0.06, you actually get 0.39. As once you can establish the rule, the rest is also for you to add on 0.06. So next one, if I add 0.06, I get 0.45. And I add another 0.06, I get 0.51. After that, I add another 0.06, I get 0.57. Got it? Okay. For F, for this case, okay, 5.67 to 5.7. Oh, from here, I can see there's a difference of 0.03. Okay. And then next one, again, moving on. Oh, I add 0.03, I get 5.73. So the next three numbers, I'll expect you to actually work it out and get the answer. Okay, well done. Let's move on to page 6, which is the multiplication strategies. I'm sure most of you know this very well. Forgive me for the scan. Okay, it's quite terrible, but if you look at a book, you can see it very clearly. So looking at this, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 6 is 18, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 0 is 0. So you work it out, and then for the rest of the tables, you have to fill them out. Okay, please use your very best handwriting because the grid is quite small. Make sure you can write your numbers neatly inside the grid. Okay, next one, when you are looking at multiplication, so I'm using an example like 90 times 2. You can simply just use 9 times 2 times 10, isn't it? Which is 18 times 10, which is 180. And then using another example, let's say 800 times 8, which is 8 times 8 times 100, which is 64 times 100. And the answer is 6,400. Okay, multiply by 10. Okay, when you want to multiply by 5, one technique is to multiply by 10 and then divide by 2. So like 18 times 5, I can simply make it 18 times 10 divided by 2, which is 180 divided by 2, which is 90. Okay, what about 48 times 5? So it's using the same technique. When you ever want to multiply by 5, you just need to multiply by 10 and then divide by 2. So 408 times 10 divided by 2, which is 480 divided by 2, which is 240. I leave it to you, if you can use other techniques, but this is one suggested technique that you can use when you want to multiply any number by 5. Okay, next skill is about how do you go about multiplying 4 and 8. The strategy is when you multiply by 4, you just need to double and double the number. Okay, just need to do it just basically times 2 and times 2. So 16 times 4 simply means it's 16 times 2 times 2, which is 32 times 2, which is 64. Is this easy? Yeah, I think it's quite easy for some of you. Okay, you may want to use this strategy in the future. And for multiply by 8, it's actually just almost similar, which is double, but double and then double again. Because 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. That's why you double, double, and double again. Okay, so 23 times 8 is actually the same as 23 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 46 times 2 times 2, which is 92 times 2, which is 184. Okay, got it? Yep, well done. So what about the last part here, talking about rounding off numbers to the nearest 10 or 100 to make an estimate of this multiplication. Estimation is a good technique for us to know, to check whether our actual answer is reasonable. So that's the reason why you need to know your rounding off technique well. So for this case, let's use one example, like 23 times 8. So 23 is very close to 20. So that's why I can use estimation. Remember to use this wavy line. Is 20 times 8, which is actually 160. Estimation is about 160. So the answer should be close to 160. What about 302 times 6? So 302 is very close to 300. So that's how I get 300 times 6, which is about 1,800. Okay, so I hope all of you can understand the techniques well. So anything you're not sure, do send me a direct message. I can support you. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.